So we tried a couple of times to sum up yesterday's special city council meeting. Why don't you tell us what you heard, what you saw, what you think, what's going on?
Well, basically, I mean, I think that we can start by saying that we can all agree that the city is grossly underinsured for the amount of buildings and property that we have. I'm not quite sure that $815 million is may not be a high number, but just for comparison, the city of Alexandria has $300 million. I would be satisfied with anywhere from $300 to $500 million, but I think we can all understand and agree that the city is grossly underinsured. The second thing I took from the meeting is that I was a little upset that the mayor was not there. I felt like that this was an extremely important thing, and I felt like that he should be there. I want to say I felt bad for Miss Jones, but I just felt like maybe she was thrown to the wolves.
So how did we go, if it's been determined yet by you and the other members of the council, how did we go from paying $500,000 a year for what was it, $800,000 in coverage,
$815 million,
to paying $700,000 a year for $50 million in coverage? Walk us through that. Walk us through those steps if you know what they are.
Who bamboozled us?
Yeah.
Well, I think that there's a couple of factors that we need to look at. Number one, Mr. Sykes met with or offered to meet with each of the council members. I'm not sure who all he met with. I do know he met with myself and Ms. Fuller and Councilman Fleury and Councilman Nicholson. We had to meet in threes due to the fact we didn't want to have a quorum with him. But and I asked him, one of the first questions I asked was, why do you not want to come to this meeting? And he said that his bosses with Frost would not allow him to. The second question that was asked, that was, I think, the most most revealing, is Councilman Nicholson asked him how many times has he dealt with municipalities and this size, and he said never. And Councilman Nicholson followed it up, as a good lawyer would, by saying, how many municipalities have you dealt with, period? And he said never. So that was one telling thing. Then I asked, who did, whenever you realize that we're at $50 million as opposed to $815 million, who did you tell? And he said that he talked to the risk manager and to Ms. Kelly and to Charles Madden, who is over finance.
And told them it was $50 million.
Right. Told them it was $50 million, gave them an option to go up to $300 million. However, the premium would have gone up by $200,000. So we're still going to be $200. Yeah, it would have gone up to $200,000. The premium would have gone up to $300 million. So we're still underinsured from where we were by almost $500 million, and our premium would have been $900,000, $950, something like that.
But they're saying that they thought the $300 million was on top of $800 million. Was there a miscommunication, maybe?
He says that there was not. He said that he told them that, and that their comment was, we need to wait. Let's go ahead and bind the $50 million, and because we're afraid that this will be a sticker shock to the city council and to the public.
Am I correct? Am I correct in assuming that Ms. Jones, CAO Sharika Fields Jones, told the city council, or that she was told that coverage was the same by Mr. Sykes?
I think that she was, yes, or that she saw it on the binder, or whatever. I didn't really understand what she was saying, how she came to know about it, but I do know that Friday, prior to the Tuesday city council meeting, internal audit told us, after they were looking at all the invoices, that it looked like we were grossly underinsured. Tuesday they met with Miss Jones, and I think that's when she says her first knowledge of this came about.
Would it be fair to say? Would it be fair to say that all along the mayor, Ms. Jones, Ms. Kelly, that all along everybody with the city has thought we had the same coverage?
I can't make that assumption.
What do we have today?
We have $50 million.
When will that change?
Well, I hope you were there, Aaron. I hope that the council was pretty firm about that. I want it to change as soon as possible. But the way that the city charter is set up and the way that the city does business, and it's up to the mayor to do it. So my hope is by the end of the day today, we have at least $300 million in coverage.
Grayson, we're talking to Grayson Boucher, the city councilman. If you were misled, if city leaders were misled, if the CAO was misled and were told or have emails saying you're going to have the same coverage, and now you realize you don't, can you not cancel that policy without having to go the 3 months because there's some sort of fraud involved?
Well, that was my thought. I kept asking Ms. Fields, one of the reasons that, I'm all for paying somebody for doing their work. I mean, I work on a by-pay basis. I'm an appraiser, so I get paid by the appraisal, so I'm always waiting on money to come in. So I understand that. But my thing was, why are we going to pay this guy $250,000 in commission if, number one, he hadn't done the job, and number two, if I were the mayor and if they were misled the way that they say they were misled, I'm going to be out looking for another agent. So that's why I asked Ms. Creel, I said, if we pay him this $250,000 commission, can we recoup any of that? And she couldn't answer that question. So that's why I voted for the resolution as it was, not to pay Mr. Sykes or Frost the $250,000 commission, because in my mind, I felt like if he has misled us the way that you're saying he misled us, then it's time to cut bait and move on.
Why do you think the mayor is so adamant in, I can pay, I plan to pay Mr. Sykes that commission over the objections of you, the rest of the council?
I'm not sure, but watching the news last night, my wife said, your neck is awful red. And I think that's probably because I was getting pretty angry about it. I don't understand the, I'll just call it affection that they have for Mr. Sykes. He was involved in the third millennial. Now he's involved in this. And, I felt like that whenever you're making a $250,000 commission, you can come and be accountable to the taxpayers and answer the questions. So I was a little disheartened by that. But I'm not quite sure. I don't know what's going on there. I can't answer that question. I think you probably need to ask the mayor.
If the mayor writes the check, what recourse do you have as a council?
I believe that the recourse will be by the people that elected him. I don't think that as a council we really have any. According to the attorney, Ms. Krill, we have no recourse if he does write the check. But I do believe that he'll be tried in the court of public opinion pretty hard. This is something that does not need to be done until we can get all the facts straight about what's going on.
So to wrap up, multiple choice question, 3 choices: nefarious, inept, or other.
Oh goodness, Robert. I would say other. I don't have enough information to make that assumption, and that's one reason I wish that the mayor had been there yesterday, where he could maybe answer some questions along with Mr. Sykes in a public arena.
Grayson Boucher, Shreveport City Councilman, thanks for your time.
Thanks, y'all. Y'all have a good morning.